Hey again, everybody. We have another tutorial here for Adobe Dreamweaver. So the last one we made, we defined a site, we created an HTML page, and we added a header and a section and a footer. And we're going to kind of review that again this time, and then we're going to start doing a little bit of styling to some of these elements, all right? So just in quick review, or if you didn't watch the last tutorial, we'll go to Site, we'll go to New Site. Okay, I'm going to call this site outline 2. Okay, site outline 2. Go into this folder, and I'm going to make a new folder in here. And I'm going to call this site outline 2. Okay, select the folder, and then I'm going to go to save. All right, and then we're up in standard mode in the top right hand corner. All right, and then we need to go to File and New and create a new HTML document. So I'm just going to call this skeleton 2. All right, and then I'm going to go to Create. Okay, it opens it up in here. And then right away, I'm just going to go to File and Save As, and I'm going to call this skeleton 2, one word, and save. All right, so things are starting to look a little bit normal, or similar to what we had in our last tutorial. And down here in the body section, I would like to go up to Insert, and I want to put in a div. All right, and basically this is going to act as kind of a wrapper for all of our stuff for our web page. And it might not make a lot of sense right now if you don't have a lot of HTML background, but you'll see why we're doing this later. So just kind of trust the process with me here, if you would please. And I'm going to call this for the class content wrap. There we go. I'm going to click OK. And down here it says content for this goes here. And I actually don't want any text right in there. Okay, and instead what I'm going to do is inside of that div, I'm going to put my header inside of that. And I'm just going to call this header top. I'm going to click OK. All right, so we got that on there. Content for the header goes here. I'm just going to simplify this a little bit, and I'm just going to type in header. Okay, and then after the header, after the tag right here, then I'll go up here and I'm going to insert a navigation. And I'm just going to call this nav bar. And I'm going to click OK. And then inside of this, I'm just going to go these are just kind of acting as labels for right now for this tutorial. All right. Okay, then after that, we have the nav bar there. Cool. And then I want to add in, I'm just going to go with this section. And I'm going to call this, darn caps lock. All right, content. I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to leave this here as content for class content goes here. Just add a little more text in there so you can kind of see. That's a part of the page where all the images and or videos or text and lists and all that kind of stuff would go. Okay, and then after that section, I'm going to go ahead and insert a footer. And for the class, I will call this footer, bottom, just to kind of keep it consistent with the naming stuff we're doing for the other things. Click OK. And we will just type in here, footer. Okay, so it's the same things we put in our last one, but with a few differences here. And the biggest thing is that all of these elements, these smaller elements, are going inside of this div class up here. All right, so here's what we want to do. I want to start styling this page. Okay, so I'm going to click here where the body is. All right, and then I'm going to go up to CSS Designer. Okay, and when I click in that window, I have some options. All right, the first thing is I don't have a CSS style sheet, so we need to create one of those. So here where it says sources, I'm going to click add CSS source. Okay, and I want to create a new CSS file. Okay, what I generally like to do is I like to call mine styles.css. Okay, that's just kind of how I like to do it. So I'm going to click OK. And you'll notice up here we have two little links now. We got a source code, which is our HTML, and our styles.css. Now, CSS is code that is allowing us to decide what the colors and the font and all these effects of our web page are going to be. Okay, and so that's there, and I'm going to click File and Save. Okay, you always want to make sure you keep these things all saved. All right, and generally what I like to do is I like to do all the HTML first, and then after that go into the styles and then start making it look the way it's supposed to look. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and I want to change the background color of the body first. All right, so I have body selected right here. Okay, and I'm going to go up here to selectors, and I'm going to click the plus, and then body is already typed in there because I have it selected in my HTML. So I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. All right, and now I have some properties of which I can do. So add property. Okay, so I'm going to select that first little square, and I'm going to type in background hyphen color, then I'm going to hit enter, and then it asks me what I actually want to use for this page, So I'm going to go, I'm going to put in the old £, and I'm going to type in A9, 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 which should be kind of a grayish color, hopefully. So I'm going to hit enter. All right, and it changes the whole background of this page here. Okay, so we put a style with that background. Now, if I go to my styles.css up here, you'll see it added something. Body with the old fancy brackets, and then background color A9, A9, A9. So I could have typed that just as easily in here, or in a text editor, but they make it a little easier to enter that stuff in here with Dreamweaver. Okay, so we got that on there. So that's pretty cool, right? So I mean, it's not. This is a great web page. It doesn't look that great, but it's gonna look great. It's gonna look better. So we got that first part done. Now what I want to do is I want to select my div class. Okay, so I'm going to go here to div class, and that's the box or the container that includes my header, navbar, and all that other kind of stuff. All right, so here's what I want to do for this. I want to add a selector. Cool. All right, and then up here it says .content underscore wrap, because that is the class name for that div that we gave it, right? So I'm going to hit enter. All right, and then down here, I can add properties for my content wrap. And up here for my selectors, it keeps track of these, So you can always go back and make changes later when you find it in the selectors part of the CSS designer on the right-hand side. Okay, so content wrap is selected. Now I'm going to go down here and I want to give this a background color. Actually, you know what? No, I don't. Here's what I really want to do. All right, I want to change the width of this. All right, so I'm going to go width, and it gives you a whole lot of options when you start typing in things there, or you can click the more deal there. And so I'm typing in width, and I'm going to go 70%. Okay. You can go pixels or percent. And I like to go percent because then if it's 70% of the window, no matter what the window size is, I'm not going to be having my page off the side. It makes it a little more responsive, as you know from some of your assignments that you've worked on in class. Okay, so width is 70%. I want to make sure I'm still recording here. Good, all right. So that's there, and you can see this little blue line shows where that's at, okay? Now, a few other things that I think I want to do is I'm going to go margin left, okay, and I'm going to go 15%. All right, and I just chose 15 because, if I go margin left and margin right, both at 15%, it gives me 30% of the width of my screen, plus 70% of the div. That's never going to be bigger than 100% of the width of the screen. See what I mean? No matter how small I shrink it down, or if I'm looking at it on a computer site or a mobile device, as of right now, everything's going to fit onto the screen. Okay, so that's on there. That's pretty solid so far, I think. Okay, so that looks good. I think we're set for that. And now what I want to do is I want to start going in, and I would like to change some of the colors here of my website, I think. All right, so let's see here. I can go here with possibly this might look okay. All right, so I'm going to go up to header. I'm going to select the header. Okay, and then I'm going to go to selectors. All right, and it automatically puts it in here. .content wrap .header. So the header that's inside the content wrap. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter there, and I'm going to make some changes. First of all, I want the width of this to be 100%. Okay, what that means is it's going to be 100% of the 70% of the width of that div that we created earlier. Okay. The next thing I would like to do is I'm going to go height. Okay, and maybe here I could go something like I don't know. I'm going to go 100 pixels for right now. Okay. All right, and there that is up there. Okay, that's cool. All right, and then the next thing I would like to do is I think I will put in background color. Okay, and for the background color, we can go something like I'm trying to think here. What would look good off the top of my head? Let's go just with maybe like a blue, perhaps. So we can go with the pound sign, and then I'm going to go C AE BF2. All right. Let's see how this looks. Okay, yeah, sure. All right, so we have that going there. So it's making the change to that header right there. Now, if I wanted to, I could go in here and I could go to font size. Okay, and I can make the font size bigger. So I could choose 36 PX, you know, and that kind of stuff. So we can change all our text rules inside that, okay? So there we have our header in here. This is what it looks like. Pretty simple, right, as far as that stuff goes. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to go down to the content section. All right, and what I'll do here, or no, actually, my navbar. I almost forgot about my navbar. Okay, so we got the navbar. And let's go ahead and go to this, and we can make the navbar, add a selector, puts it in here. I'm going to hit enter. All right, cool. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to go background color. Looks pretty good. And here we can give this maybe kind of just a reddish type of color. Okay, so I'm going to go £, and then I'm going to go FF 3B 3F. All right. So here that is. All right. I'm going to go on here with the width. Okay, it's going to be 100%. And then the height is going to be, let's see what 50 pixels looks like. Yeah, not terrible, not terrible. Okay, so then we could have our links that go inside this area right here. Okay, so there's that. Now, if I go to the content, and I go add a selector, okay, content wrap content, and for this here, we can add our properties for it. So I'm going to hit enter, and for the height here, I'm going to go like just, I don't know, 400 or something for right now, 400 pixels, just to give it some distance to it here so we can kind of see what this would look like if it had a lot of text in it. Okay. With the 100%. And for the background color, we can go $EF, EF, EF. Kind of a light color there. Looks pretty good. Okay, and so we have this on here. And now we can go down to the footer. And let's select this footer on here and add a selector. Puts it up here, hit enter. And then here we could go, you know, we could go height to be 100 pixels with 100%. And we'll just make it match the header for right now. So we'll go background color, And the background color we will have be downside CA, EB, F2. Okay, so now we have those all on there. We can switch to live view to kind of see this a little bit easier. And you can start to see kind of what your web page looks like with this. So this could be a real simple template to where you could have your color up here. You could also put a color, or you could put an image up there. And then we'll talk about navbars and all that kind of stuff here in a little bit too. So hopefully that information kind of helps you out with creating a basic skeleton outline. You know, when you're done, you obviously want to make sure you save your style sheet. And we go here and we save this. And then both your HTML and your .css file are going to be found inside the site folder that we defined at the beginning of this tutorial. So hopefully you learned that. Again, we started a site from scratch. We defined the site, we created the HTML file, and then we put in a we put in a div, and the div is basically allowing us to make all of these things inside of it shrunk down to kind of give it almost kind of like one of those blogging type page looks. And then we went over and created a styles.css style sheet, and we did some styling to this for the sizes and the background colors. So we'll keep building on these skills with these Dreamweaver tutorials, and hopefully they're making the program be a little bit easier for you. I prefer just using like Notepad++, but I know a lot of people out there like to use Dreamweaver. They're interested in it because maybe they're intimidated with the coding and stuff like that, and hopefully this makes that less stressful and makes it easier on everybody. So thanks for watching.